Somehow, it is December 1st, 2025, and we're going to talk about trash. This is Inverted World Live. Hello, everybody. How are you? I hope you had a really good Thanksgiving. Hope you had a great weekend. Man, my Thanksgiving was crazy. There was a hit and run in the driveway. There were loose, those dogs I told you about, the Irish Wolfhound, one of those got loose, terrorized the town. It was totally insane, but it was great. We all made it, and I hope you guys had a great one too. I'm already laughing at you guys in the chat. It's good to see you all. I'm glad you're here. It is Monday, and we got a lot of weird things to talk about, and I'm stoked to have you all here to call in about 30 minutes. We'll take your phone calls. If you have a strange story you want to share with us, something weird, dark, twisted, give us a call. The link to call in will be pinned in the chat on Rumble and YouTube. And now this is serious. I am joined right now by the man in black himself, Brandon.
What's up, Shana? What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Hope you guys had a great holiday. We are here, ready to roll. It's time to get weird. And yes, I am wearing a suit. It's a long story.
Can we hear it? Can you walk us through it?
It started in Chicago. Saturday at 3:00, we get hit with a blizzard. I had to be at the Pentagon today to pick up credentials for press briefing, all of that stuff, so that we can start, reporting out of there. And so I'm like, okay, well, I've got to leave because otherwise I'm not going to get back. 18 hours of drive time and 6 hours of sleep later, I arrived back in West Virginia through the worst storm of my entire life I've ever seen driving. It was insane. Battery died, had to get a battery replaced. No. Headlights and stuff were going out. Like the storm was insane in the Midwest. And if you experienced this, I'm sorry, because it was insane. Trucks jackknife, flipped over, cars in ditches every 100 feet the entire way. Like it was absolute madness. And finally get back yesterday, get everything done, get to sleep, get up 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, straight to DC. And then we spent the day at the Pentagon, the entire day. Just got back from there to the studios at 7:30 or so, and lined everything up to get the show up. And now we are here till midnight, and I have to rush out of here tonight on 4 hours of sleep, try to go home and get 4 more so that we can get back to DC in the morning to go back for the briefings tomorrow at the Pentagon. So it has been a long few days, but we're gonna make it through.
That's good.
But yes, I did manage to get my hat and everything into and wear around like a jackass around the Pentagon today. So there was that too, and I think it was well received in my opinion.
Good. You look good.
Thanks,
this
man.
Is a good look.
So are you doing is this the sunglasses thing full time now, or what's going on with that?
The blue light has been killing my face.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've been slowly MK Ultraing myself in all the podcast studios that are so bright. So I decided to get some red glasses. We'll see how long they last. But
my glasses have blue light resistance on them, and I unfortunately decided to leave them at home today. So after the 18-hour almost day that I have had on 3 hours of sleep, I can't see a fucking thing right now. So I'm going to try to read chats, but if I can't, feel free to talk shit to me. I won't be able to see it until I read them later.
Oh, yeah. That's all they're doing, dude. Every comment's about you right now. Just ragging on the suit. No. Everyone loves a suit. It looks good. You are the man in black now. It's appropriate for this show to have a man in black in
yes,
here.
Sir.
You'll have all the answers.
Yeah. And I can't wait until they do the flashy thing on me because I know too much.
That's also why I'm wearing my glasses, because I'm afraid you're going to pull that out.
Resistance?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. That's why I got these. They said they're resistant to the Men in Black tool, whatever that thing's called, the neutralizer. I forget.
I can't remember right now. My brain is not functioning the way that it's supposed to be at all. Neurons are not firing anymore.
Well, we're going to try to get through this without burning the place down. And final 6 warning, thank you for the super chat. The Bears, this is probably for you. The Bears are the #1 seed in the NFC.
Let's go, baby.
What the most paranormal SHIT that's happened this decade? How do you feel about that?
They have not won a Super Bowl since 3 or 4 months before my birth.
Really?
And I am almost 40 years old. We went back. We did go back. Devin Hester returned the opening kickoff of the Super Bowl for a touchdown. Absolutely epic. And then Rex Grossman decided to throw like 4 interceptions and completely hand the game over to Peyton Manning and the Colts at the time. And then we've been lucky to make the playoffs ever since. It's only happened maybe 1 or 2 times, and we got our asses destroyed. So right now I can tell you right now we are happy with our spot atop the NFC. So
Sweet. Well, shout out to the Bears. And what's up, everyone from IRL? Thank you for joining us. I just ran over here from the studio. One bright studio to another. It looks dark in here, although you have lightened it up in here some, but it's still extremely bright, which we have to do. And
people still bitch that it's too dark in here. It's like, we can't even see you guys. I'm like, well, try turning your fucking brightness up because I can see me.
I could make it darker. I mean, I could do this in the dark.
Oh, we totally could do this in the dark.
Just candlelight.
Yep.
Can we do that? They'll really complain about that.
We're going to definitely get complaints then if we're getting them now. So,
but yeah, thank you all for coming over from IRL. We're glad you're here. And before we get to our first story, I want to shout out our sponsor. Let me get this. Shout out to Purge. Appreciate you guys sponsoring the show tonight. They say monsters aren't real, but what if the monsters are inside us? Right now, it's estimated that more than half the world's population carries parasites, and most don't even know it. These silent invaders steal your nutrients, suppress your immune system, and they release toxic waste that spreads through your blood and brain. It's disgusting. They feed on your energy, your strength, even your mood. Doctors rarely test for them. The system ignores them. But your body knows something's wrong. Fatigue, brain fog, anxiety, inflammation, skin issues, digestive problems. It is the quiet war happening inside you. That's why there's Purge, Advanced Parasite Cleanse, a natural century time-tested formula that helps flush out hidden parasites, cleanse your system, and reset your health without harsh drugs or chemicals. If you've been feeling off and no one can tell you why, maybe it's time to look deeper and take back control. Start your cleanse today at www.purgestore.com/IW and use promo code IW for 15% off. The truth is inside you. It's time to fight back because before you can change the world, you have to cleanse yours. Thank you, Purge, very much for sponsoring the show. And it's crazy. It's true. You know, some doctors just don't care about this stuff. I think it's stuff we got to take seriously because there are parasites everywhere and it's gross. But speaking of things that are gross, I was like, I ended last show with good news. Like, I didn't want to go hard on the bad news because there's so much bad news. I was like, well, try to find a medium, a middle place for this. So I saw this story and I thought it'd be a nice place to start because it's weird. Remember the Great Pacific Garbage Patch? Is there a way to pull up a picture of that thing? If you, I know you're blind, so I shouldn't be asking.
I can definitely try.
You can.
Are we looking for current state, or are we looking for what it used to look like?
Let's see what it looks like now, or any, maybe the evolution, perhaps.
Because I heard they did some kind of, I don't know if it was Mr. Beast or some random shit.
He's out there cleaning it up.
They did like a cleanup thing or something. I don't know if it was for that. I have to look it up and see.
Mr. Beast is probably eating it.
Wouldn't be surprised.
$1 million for the first person to eat the most of the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. But while Brandon pulls this up, I saw this. Coastal animals have hitched rides to the remotest part of the ocean by clinging to plastic pollution. Okay. Interesting. The Great Pacific Garbage Patch is an area of contaminated ocean split between two regions, one off the coast of California and another near Japan. The patch is not a mountain of tin cans and old tires sitting on the ocean surface, but more like a thick soup of millions of plastic particles trapped in the sway of large ocean currents called gyres. Interesting word there. Researchers exploring these man-made marine mishaps have found that many marine species, even those that normally live far away in coastal waters, have begun to call the patch home. Is Earth just one giant garbage patch? As I was reading this earlier, I was like, we got all this space junk flying back down to Earth. We got this stuff. You know, Tony Hinchcliffe got in all that trouble talking about the landfill problem in Puerto Rico is an issue. Here we go. You guys can see one of the, is this the patch of just straight trash?
This guy's like just chilling in it. Like
there-
there's
yeah,
a
look
guy
at that.
right there just like swimming through it.
It's
I don't know.
nice,
I don't know
beautiful day
how
for a
old this
swim.
photo is,
Well,
unfortunately, but this
for
is,
many-
it's a lot bigger
is a
than what you're
patch.
seeing right now. Yeah.
For many years, researchers assumed that coastal living marine animals wouldn't last long in the open ocean, removed from their normal biome and food chain. One of the few ways that such species might end up far from shore is through rafting, where they hitch a ride on man-made or natural debris carried out by ocean currents. You'll see it through this article towards the end, if I even make it to the end. I just wanted to point out how interesting this is that they're almost trying to sell this as a good thing now. Like we did make this giant patch of trash, but it's good now. Natural rafts like vegetation or buoyant pumice rock will degrade or sink shortly after taking to the open ocean. Scientists realized that the plastics found in the patch last longer in the open ocean and set out to investigate which coastal creatures might be living there. In 2018 and 2019, researchers hitched a lift on a ship organized by nonprofit The Ocean Cleanup, which dredges the patch with the aim of removing plastic from our seas. The researchers looked for chunks of material longer than 6 inches floating in the patch's plasticky broth. The person who wrote this is really trying to sell it now. Plasticky broth is disgusting, but also sounds beautiful. In total, they retrieved 105 pieces of plastic debris. Much of the material in the patch is derived from shipping, and the haul included buoys, ropes, and nets. Can we play that video?
Yeah.
Maybe not the whole thing, but I just want people to understand what's out there. It's crazy to me.
Not without an ad, though.
This
You know,
is
the way
not
they
a
work.
sponsor of our show, ladies and gentlemen.
Nope.
Also,
I'm not asking Google to.
this
thanks
is
for the
people. This
suggestion.
is a commercial for people who are visiting the patch. All this stuff happens out there. You can see cars racing on the patch now.
This actually is. Let me go back to this because it's sizing. So let me see if this is music.
Pipes and synthetic T-shirts.
No, I get some.
While
sound.
most of it ends up in landfills, 8 million tons of plastic winds up in our oceans each year, where most of it finds its way into massive garbage patches around the world. And the biggest of them all is called the Great Pacific Garbage Patch. If you picked up each piece of plastic in the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, you'd carry away about 1.8 trillion individual pieces. That's 10 times more plastic pieces than there are stars in our Milky Way galaxy. And it would weigh a whopping 80,000 tons, equivalent to the weight of 3 Statues of Liberty. Half of the entire patch is made of plastic fishing nets, lines, and ropes, which come from intense fishing activity near the area. The other half is mostly hard plastics and films, like water bottles and plastic wrap. But don't let the name Great Pacific Garbage Patch fool you. It doesn't look like a giant mountain of trash at all. It's actually scattered over a region of ocean that's twice the size of Texas, according to some estimates. So if you wanted to pick up every piece of plastic, it would take you 121 days at a walking pace of 5 kilometers per hour to cover the entire area. Though in reality, there's no true end, since the garbage patch is constantly ebbing and flowing with the ocean currents. But let's pretend we could scoop it all up into one place. There'd be enough plastic to fill 100 Boeing 747 planes.
Your
And the
favorite.
patch is only
So
getting
it'll fall out of
bigger.
the sky. Great.
It's actually been growing exponentially larger for nearly 70 years. Partly because once the plastic is there, it'll stick around for centuries.
All right, we can
Those
stop.
plastic fishing lines, for example, will
Yeah, that's right. Plastic
long-
doesn't degrade.
How long do you think till people start living here? They're going to colonize the Great Patch.
I mean, we already seen a guy swimming around in there.
And then it's like, are we going to find oil in it? Are we going to invade the patch? I mean, the other thing is, with as much robot hate as I have, you guys know I'm racist against all robots. This could be something we could send the robots to and clean up. Yeah, I'm not a climate alarmist. Climate change is a cult, but this is a real issue. Anyway, they found stuff like this, and I'm going to try to, let's see if I can read these words. It has been a while. Some of the things they found in this patch are the simple bryozoans, tiny scavenging amphipods, sea anemones, sea sponges, worms, and sea slugs. That sounds like fun. Sounds like fun. But they found 484 animals from 46 species on the debris, taken from 6 different animal groups. Overall, there were slightly more individual animals from coastal areas than from the deep sea. The team next looked for signs of indicating whether the animals were merely riding the debris to a new location or actively thriving in the ocean's pull. I love that sentence. That's just, were these guys hitchhiking on the plastic or were they actually colonizing it? They found brooding females rich with eggs and young. The debris also appeared to contain animals at all life stages, including juveniles and adults. The authors concluded that the plastic passengers were reproducing and starting new communities in their new homes. We're watching an ecosystem be born out of the plastic, out of all the trash that's been dumped into the ocean. It's pretty wild. Many of the coastal species that the group found were asexual reproducers that spend their entire life cycle bound to surfaces. So maybe this is like there's gender now. So it's like this is the Portland of the trash patches. Trash patch. I should have named this trash patch.
Portland.
My apologies, guys.
Let's just rename it Portland.
It's just floating Portland out there. Anyway, many of the, asexual. Overall, the authors concluded that the patch garbage could be a rich source for marine life. I just love that they're spinning this now, which I guess it's true, but they were looking for any positive they could do about this giant island of plastic. Look, guys, it is a new home for people. It's kind of like when we bury old ships at sea, and you can go back, or containers they've been doing, and they go back after some time, and it's become a whole ecosystem of underwater phenomena. However, they did note that the diversity was lower than that identified on debris swept away after the 2011 Tohoku earthquake and tsunami. Some animal groups, such as mollusks, were unexpectedly absent from the patch. They are anti-patch. That's me, not the article. Whereas others, such as sea anemones, a word I like to say and one I can actually pronounce, were more common than in tsunami debris. Tsunami debris is also a great phrase. Good name for some sort of metal album, perhaps. The authors say that their small sampling of the vast patch likely doesn't capture the biodiverse richness floating in the Pacific's most polluted area. In sum, the patch may have unexpected effects on our ocean's living world. The plastosphere may now provide extraordinary new opportunities for coastal species to expand populations into the open ocean and become a permanent part of the pelagic community, the authors wrote. I love that last quote. That's really trying to sell. It's like a postcard for the trash patch. And if you're out there, if you're an enemy listening right now, find your nearest trash patch, hitch a ride, start a family there. Sounds great. But I grew up at the bottom of a landfill. So I guess that's why I am partial to trash patches. But it's true. I grew up on this beautiful hill, at the bottom of a beautiful hill. Beautiful green grass. And it wasn't until later in my life, maybe middle school, high school, when I found out it was a capped landfill. And it was always weird to me that when it rained, the water that would flow down the side of this beautiful green hill was red. That might be why my forehead is shaped the way it is and why my teeth are so strange. One of my sister's incisors came in upside down. So we are sort of mutants. And I believe it's because the trash hill that I grew up beneath. But it's just so funny to think that this idyllic place I grew up on this farm in the middle of the woods in the Hudson Valley of New York was just a landfill. They didn't use it anymore. That's why it was a capped landfill. It had those like hook-shaped things that came out of it so it could breathe. But one day I came back from college and they decided that it was time to flip it like a pancake. And I walked through, I think I even told this story once before on the show, when I walked through the landfill looking at all this debris. And I didn't see much other than worms, and maybe some newts crawling around. But it was funny that on this horse farm, and we actually did turn that landfill into a horse cemetery in 1986. I didn't find any horse bones, oddly enough. But I did find a bowling ball, a black one, that was named Black Beauty, of all things. So I guess I'm just partial to these stories and people making a beautiful home for themselves on their own respective trash patch. What about you guys? Live near a landfill? Are you a mutant because of red water, toxic water that's been flowing down the mountain.
There is if you got to grab this super chat because I can't see a damn thing. I was trying to read the name and I can't do it, and I'm like, shit, I'm Shane now.
I can't read. Everything's Chinese. All right. Thank you to Shadav the Vedmac.
Wow.
Thank you for that super chat. There's already a young boy who came up with a skimming device to collect the garbage. In the meantime, we should just sanction the people dumping in the ocean. I have seen that story. That's right. I wonder what happened with him. That was great. It's one of those great things.
I wouldn't be surprised if they fucking took him out.
Bro, that literally was about to say. I was about to say, I'm like, it's a young boy. I don't want to say it, but it's like the guy who who was part of that mass shooting, one of the victims in the mass shooting in Buffalo, who invented that car that ran on water. He died, and it was really very strange. But yeah, you're right. It would be great. And also we should sanction these things. We've made it so a lot of these crazy corporations, like the DuPont thing I keep referencing, and a lot of other ones. There's a lot of other ones out there that just dump. IBM is the one I had across the river from me, the Hudson River in New York. It was in Poughkeepsie, so it was a little north of me. They were just allowed to dump right into the Hudson River. The beautiful Hudson River is now brown and filled with three-eyed fish. And we were always told, don't go in there. But some people sometimes got a little too drunk and fell in. And when they came out, they were glowing.
Hell yes.
It's disgusting. Disgusting. But yeah, it's crazy out there.
Maybe that's where like this whole. Have you guys seen this on the internet in the last day or two? These girls that are getting LED implants, breast implants.
What does that mean?
Like that means, for lack of better terminology, that their tits light up.
What? Why?
I mean, I don't know.
Is this a thing? Is this a new fetish?
I've literally seen it in like 4 different places today. Like it's in the news that this is becoming a thing. Ladies, why? I mean, I get it, but I don't get it at all.
That's disgusting. Don't do that. If you're out here, if you're someone listening to the show right now thinking about, I really always wanted my breasts to glow. Don't do it. You're going to regret it. No one wants that. I see Sirius in the chat saying recycling works. Nope. That's a huge scam. And then I see Vivica saying Shane and his Wilson in reference to my bowling ball. Yeah, that's pretty much how I grew up. That's pretty much how I grew up. No, Joe, not Shane admitting to one of his old killing fields. They were horses and they were already dying or dead. It was traumatic though. Vampires hate trash. Who said that? Kyle. All right. So I do want to get to callers. I want to hear from as many of you as possible. I also see Ian saying LED tattoos when. I think those exist. To some extent, there are some, maybe not LED tattoos, but there are glowing ones.
Oh, yeah. There's glow-in-the-dark ink out there.
Not good.
I had actually, way back in my stupid days, considered... I have like an octopus kind of deal on one of my forearms, and I thought it'd be cool if his eyes actually glowed in the dark because but I didn't go through with that because it didn't seem right. And it has kind of a high rejection rate, like it fades super fast. Most ink fades over time no matter what, especially with like sun damage, not taking care of it, that sort of thing. But this stuff literally apparently just like completely loses steam in like a couple of years. So I didn't go through with it. Kind of happy that I didn't, but it still would have been cool.
Pulsa Rachel 1952 says, "What happened to the bowling ball? Was it magical though?" It's so funny. It disappeared. I don't know what happened to it. And I was a bit of a hoarder for some time, but it just evaporated into thin air. I don't know, but I did find a horse femur once that just popped out of the ground, and now it's in my fireplace for when people come by. It's huge. It's like that big.
You just got a horse femur in your fireplace.
Everyone needs a certain type of weapon. I mean, everyone should have all the types of weapons, but I think sometimes a club, made of a horse femur is good.
Are you suggesting that if someone were to break into your home, that you would beat them with a horse femur?
It wouldn't be the first thing that they'd encounter, but it'd be on the list.
Oh my God, I love it.
It's the truth. It's the truth. Everyone knows. Got to have car weapons. Got to have weapons. You got to protect your family.
Think about that in the news. Like, assailant breaks into home, gets beat to death with horse femur.
Yeah, it would do some serious damage. It's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes me a caveman every time I feel. You can
Those
work
guys
out
have
with
some,
it.
some bone density, too,
You can work
man.
out with
So,
it. It's
yeah.
great. It was a big horse. I don't know which horse it was, but we had a lot of bigger horses.
Look at that horse.
Anyone else out there have a horse femur?
That's a
ready
big
for their
horse.
Shooter? Well, I'd love to get to some callers. Love to hear from you guys. We can talk about anything. We could talk about trash, and we could talk about landfills. We can talk about horse femurs some more. But we also want to hear about cryptids. You know, I have someone I'm going to bring on soon for some really good Bigfoot stories. So that's coming down the pike. Next week we have someone awesome coming on Monday to talk about some crazy Roman history. He's been on the show. It's been about a year since he's last been on the show. You guys might know Jeremy Ryan Slate. He was a great guest. I can't believe it's been a year since he's been on the show last, because the fires in LA broke out when we had him on, and he happened to be there. So we talked about that, but he'll be back on. We have a lot of weird and crazy stuff to talk about with him. So, you guys are welcome to call about anything: ghosts, cryptids, sleep paralysis, Loch Ness. Not a lot of Loch Ness callers out there. We've had some Loch Ness stories, but I'd love to hear a really awesome Loch Ness story from someone.
That's because she's not out there.
Or is she?
She ain't.
Is she? Remember that video we pulled up when they were like the latest Loch Ness reporting? And
Yeah,
and
I was just instantly like, nope.
It's just ripples in the water. That video was ridiculous.
Yeah, it's nothing.
Unbelievable.
It ain't Nessie Poo.
JJ in Rumble chat says Home Alone horse femur. Yeah. Honestly, I actually just watched Home Alone again this break. It's a great movie. Great movie.
Tis the season. I personally, Home Alone 2 was my jam. The sequel was
remember it.
The sequel was Lost in New York.
Yeah, I remember it, but I don't remember the story, that well. I didn't hardly remember the first one that well until I rewatched it.
The only thing I didn't agree with in that movie, is that he befriends a homeless woman in Central Park, and gets all this money and all these gifts, and they're staying in this massive 5-star hotel, and the best that he can do to help this lady out is give her some damn turtle dove ornaments that he got from a frickin' toy store. Thanks, dude. It's kind of shitty in my opinion.
Rewatching it now, that's the first time I've seen it since being an adult, since I cosplay as one outside of here, and then watching it with my son. I watched it with my eldest. There were some things that I'm like, this isn't really appropriate. We really try to be pretty strict. We're pretty tough, strict on what we let him watch. And there's some language. It's not terrible language, but we are a little strict. And I was like, wow. I'm like, you don't talk to your family that way, right? This is bad. But the overall thing, I was like, those two guys are really evil. Really, the way they're threatening the kid. I mean, there's so much larger themes at play here about what these thieves are willing to do. I mean, it's funny, and it's a great movie, but those guys are straight up evil. And religion comes into play. I forgot about that, at the church scene, which I love. And when he sees the old man who he's afraid of. Spoiler alerts, if you haven't seen Home Alone, sorry, the great movie with Macaulay Culkin. But I teared up, guys. I teared up like a bitch when that old man reunites with his family. That hit me hard. Great movie.
Nothing like Christmas at Nakatomi Plaza, though.
Oh, great movie. Shout out to Bruce Willis. Anyway, let's do some calls, shall we?
All right. Let's get on the phones.
Someone said, is that Giovanni Ribisi? I think they're talking about me. That's amazing. Actually, yes.
Entirely possible.
I have been this entire time Giovanni Ribisi, method acting as a character named Shane Cashman. I developed him, someone who grew up at a landfill, who does a show here at Timcast. You're on to me. And this is our last show now, as you've called me out. And tomorrow I'll be back as Giovanni Ribisi.
Sick, bro. All right. Let's go to Don for the first call of the night.
First call of the night.
Oh.
What's up?
Hello, Don.
Yes, this is actually Lord Awesome Sauce here.
What's up, Lord Awesome Sauce?
Yeah, it's out of the near west burbs of Chicago.
Awesome.
So, Shane, I heard you got a giant horse bone.
I do.
Brr. So, how would you beat this person? Would you grab it with two hands? Would you grab that giant horse bone with two hands?
Well, I've trained with it. I can do one-handed horse femur to the skull pretty quick. It wouldn't be my first option, but it is there. And it also could be a shield. I could I honestly could strap it around my arm. I could put straps on it. That'd be pretty gnarly.
So you would use the bone as a strap on? Is that what?
I think you could. I think you could rename it Mr. Hands 2.0.
Yes, that's great. That's
he said it, not me.
Yep, wonderful, perfect. Yeah, everyone should have one. I don't know how much they go on the black market these days, but I got a free one.
I mean, there's over nearby me. I'm near the intersection of Harlem and Roosevelt in the near west burbs of Chicago, right just south of 290.
Yep.
And there is a little tiny Chinese restaurant, and they got the best egg rolls, the best authentic egg rolls. But shit, when I walk in there, it smells like a fucking pet store. Like,
do you think there's actual pets in the food?
Like, that's where they got their stock from.
There's speculation of a lot of these places that they say like people's stray cats and dogs are going missing, and that they're just chopping them up and putting in Chinese food. And I mean, you see what they do overseas.
Yeah,
it's no different. So
when you walk in, it just smells so fucking wrong. I'm so sorry. I'm trying not to swear, but oh my god. If you got that, oh man, what's that Trump remix? They're eating the cats or eating the dogs, which was like the best remix ever.
The good old days.
Yeah. There were some pretty good ones. Auto-Tune the News used to be my shit with the climbing in your windows, snatching your people up, hide your kids, hide your wife thing.
Yep.
Sweet Brown and all that stuff. Like that shit killed me back in the day. It was really funny.
So I know we were talking about some other esoteric stuff. Now, I did make an error last time, and I saw you posting on the Rumble. It was about the Chris Bledsoe conversation that we had. I did mention the the angels were appearing to the astronauts on the International Space Station about 400 feet. No, they were. I went back and I looked. It was about 150 feet. I'm sorry, you got to excuse. I got a little mild dyslexia. Speaking of which, Alex has a amazing shirt. The shirt says it's in the script of the Extra Strength Tylenol. It's Extra Strength Autism. And on the one little peck of the shoulder, I bought it. I had to. It says brain reliever and IQ reducer. It's so messed up. I love it. I showed my family.
Perfect.
The majority of them they're cops. They died laughing.
Awesome.
But I do want to talk about something a little bit more. Don't want to say personal. It's something I've been experiencing for the past like 3 or 4, no, maybe about 3 to 2 months. Sorry, I tend to get a little hyperbolistic. I did have a podcast a few years ago, which I was kind of known as the Hyperbole King. That was not my screen name in it, but what I've been experiencing, I don't know if any of the other listeners can corroborate this, but I've been experiencing my ears ringing like a ton, and not just like the the rumor of someone talking about you type thing.
You're talking about tinnitus.
I'm talking about like planetary alignment, things with 3-eye, all that stuff happening. I've been having bizarre whooshing feeling through my body. Like I have to, I don't want to say in a meditative state, but definitely probably in a like a half sleep state, almost like a
Brain fog.
no, not brain fog, more like a hypnagogic state. Not where I'm possibly more like in between waking and asleep, kind of like in a trance state. Like an in between, like you're just kind of a wide awake meditation, like you're like zoning out, right? And when I'm kind of like zoning out, or lost in thought might be another phrase people might use. When the high ringing in, like it might one time be in my left ear, it might hit my right ear,
Does
and
it
then
swell?
sometimes it.
Does it
Say
swell?
again?
Does it swell? Does it start off small and then go like really loud, or stay the same pitch and volume?
It starts really small, and then it goes like peak high, like it goes like high peak, and then
Does it
I'm
get
like,
worse if you
what's
focus
going
on it? Like when you actually notice it happening, if you focus on it, is that where it usually picks up in intensity? Have you noticed anything like that?
Yes, kind of. It's just when I notice it, and then it's almost an overwhelming sense, and then after I just kind of focus on that to try to like kind of psychosomatically. I know that it's a reversal of a phrase right here, but I try to like reverse it down. I try to like tone it out. Then I actually feel like a whooshing through my whole body, like a whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. And I almost feel like it is the heartbeat of the earth. God, what's the name of it? It's the Schumann resonancy, the Schumann frequency.
Right. You think you've tapped into it? And you think others are having this problem?
I think other people are having it. And I actually just started a new job somewhere, and I started talking about it to some people who might be a little bit more, I don't want to say in tune, because I don't want to sound fruity, but yeah, other people have been like experiencing this stuff.
There's lots of people around the world who have been having this issue, and they say it's not just tinnitus. I'm trying to look for certain articles. I'm not finding them right now. I pulled them up the last time we've had a caller about this, though. I'm forgetting when that happened, but we had someone else talking about their ear ringing thing. You know, and like you said, there's people who say, oh, it's the thing about someone talking about you when your ears are ringing. But there were people who were complaining about it actually being connected to some type of like direct energy weapon situation, or there are other people connecting it to
Magnetic
windmills,
fields.
that. And it is a phenomenon that's been happening around, and it could just be like a mental thing, but there are like communities around certain areas and where they have like a high density population of people saying they have this issue with the ear ringing.
There's also it's attributed to actual hearing damage, going
yeah.
to loud concerts, listening to music too loud, things like that.
Yeah.
I actually developed some of this after the vaccine issue that I had. Plus, I was working as a security guard at a concert venue, standing in front of massive speakers the entire day, even with earplugs in. And plus playing shows, being in these things all the time, and having that blasting.
Yeah.
It all attributed to some of that stuff. So while I'm not ruling out that there's something crazy going on, you should definitely speak with your physician just to be safe.
I do want to shout out to a comatose bride who asked CERN. Well, I like to attribute lots of weird things to CERN. Always possible. The way it can affect the environment, the magnetosphere. Who knows what? It could HARP as well. But yeah, there are people. Oh, maybe the hum is what I should be looking for. There are people hearing a hum. That's been really like haunting lots of people. But you're talking about more of like a sharp ring, right?
Yeah. So yeah, it does. And I have, I've had friends' bands at the Double Door and other things like that. There was another band, a friend of mine band, well, a couple of them, but one of them was known as PMI, Pure Motorized Instinct. And I was standing right next to one of the massive amps. And I did leave with a ringing in my ear, a tinnitus-like thing.
Right.
And my ears eventually recovered, but on the rare occasion, I would get. So sorry.
That's okay.
I would get some ringing in the ears, but this has been frequent, and it's been happening ever since. Oh my God! When did I'm a Christian. I consider myself Christian, Roman Catholic. But when there was that little spat when a bunch of Christians thought the end of the world was happening, like 2 months ago.
Yeah. Yep. They thought we were going to have a rapture.
Yeah, that's when it started. So I started. I didn't realize what it was because I was just like, "What the is happening?" And I was just monitoring my sodium, making sure, I just wasn't eating too much salt, or, I was tracking down anyone was talking crap about me, and I beat them up. That's what you do. And
With a horse femur.
exactly, right up somewhere, and that's why you call him Mr. Hands 2.0. And but really, it was kind of coinciding with a lot of the odd metaphysical stuff with 3i and all this other stuff. Do you know about the weird vision? Okay, so I believe Tim had someone, and probably Joe Rogan also had someone on with the Earth turning side. Maybe Tim didn't have him on, but Tim covered it.
Ben Davidson guy, the pole shift.
I think yes, the pole shift. So I've actually been talking to people a long time about this. Discovery, I believe the Discovery Channel or Learning Channel. It was not the History Channel at the time, because the History Channel only focused on World War II at the time. But I'm pretty sure it was Discovery. They were actually, the geologists were analyzing the magnetic structure of different flow lines of archaeological layers in the dirt, and they could tell which way the atoms were facing, and they were talking about pole shifts like almost 30 years ago on the Discovery Channel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't subscribe to the idea. I mean, it's possible, but I do think something's happening with the Earth. There's that story we talked about recently about the that dam that China built has actually like shifted, I think, the axis of the Earth. So they say. Also, all the things we talk about like HARP and CERN, I do think they have an effect on frequencies and Earth in general.
China has an effect on a lot. China is as her. That's true. China is as her.
Yes. Sorry to cut you off there, but you're right.
No, 100%. China is ass ho.
I love it so much. It'll never get old. But they are, though, for real. I digress. They are ass ho.
Yeah. No, I mean, I just want to just talk about that, just because there is the sort of north and south. They've been migrating for years. I've been paying attention to this ever since I learned about the pole shift thing, and then the magnetic. My family thought I was 100% straight retarded when I said the North Pole, the magnetic North Pole is shifting southward, and they were like, it's the same. I'm like, no, it's the magnetic North Pole, not the actual North Pole.
Right.
And yeah, so then there's part of the Chris Bledsoe thing where he had a vision from the higher entities about a solar blast hitting the Pacific Ocean, blasting basically atomizing all the water on that, and then the Earth shifting. So the question is, where was the Earth shifting? And then we also have to look at, remember the Bush family? Do you recall them buying up a whole bunch of natural water areas in Africa? Or was it South America?
I don't. That's interesting.
Yeah, so that that was a big thing. And then, there was a whole bunch of propagandistic programming documentaries called The Water Wars, and how we're going to be fighting over water, fresh water, and things like that. So yeah, it's just one of those things where it's just like everything is sort of culminating and building into this like odd, weird thing. But then at the same time, we have India with the location of a Shambhala type hidden city. And then with this earth shift, the North American and South American continents might be near the North Pole. And then, so that would make India more near towards the North Pole. And then that would sort of open up the sort of location of Agartha, if you want to believe that.
Right.
But like that's where that would be. So I don't know, guys.
I do think something's happening to the earth, like I think it might have some, and I think whatever it is, it might have something to do with people kind of going crazy, like widespread. It's not just the media and politics. Like there's something deeper happening. It could be just the removal of God too. And, that has a huge effect.
That's a big aspect of it. Yeah,
like
100%.
That anchor, but there's something like, I've been talking about it for a few weeks now. We talked about it a lot. Like there's an anger, like there's a new anger that I think is beyond politics that I'm seeing, and here in West Virginia and anywhere where I'm driving, where it's just like, wow, people are like much quicker to anger now than I ever remember for minor things. Like they're just waiting for that. So yeah, I mean, something's going on. And I don't know if you heard me talk about this before, but I also heard, this is like secondhand from information from a doctor that said that he thought the earth was tilting years ago. This is like 10 years ago when I first heard this. And he was saying that he was seeing more pilots because they were getting more radiation because like it was coming through the atmosphere more because his belief that the earth had tilted in a new way. And he was like, I swear, more pilots are getting radiation sickness because of this. And I never forget that. He could just be a crazy person, but, who knows? Something's going on.
I'll tell you this. When I had my comic book store open, a few months before, I don't recall when it actually happened, but I made a prediction. All my liberal friends laughed at me because they didn't see all the news that I was seeing. But Walmart's, Home Depot's, they were all preparing for a massive, catastrophic earthquake. Okay? Mm-hmm. And so I just said, there's going to be a major earthquake. I don't know when. I don't know where. Then, my Facebook page was flooded with, well, where's it going to be? And blah, 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 blah. I'm just like, I don't freaking know. All I know is all these people are preparing for it. And then maybe about 3 months later, this is somewhere around 2013, 2014, 2015. I can't pick the date, but there was a massive, massive earthquake. And I remember here in Chicago, near around the wintertime, the shadows freaking shifted. So if you were standing on the ground, like your shadow and the building shadows did not look right. And this was not just because of, we were in winter and shadows changed during winter. Mm-hmm. No, I'm talking about like, 1 week it was this way and 1 week it was totally freaking different the next. And then I had one customer who was like way up on the woo-woo side of it. And he actually said that when I mentioned it to him, he said that the Inuit, the Eskimo people, they actually, they noticed it too. So, and this is all the way back in like 2013, 2014, 2015.
Mm-hmm. Well, CERN was flipped on in 2008, I believe, for the first time. If we want to I just want to put that out there as a landmark for when things started to get real strange. But have you also seen that people are saying the sun looks different, the sky looks different? It could just be everyone going crazy, but that's a whole other thing going on. I see on the internet. People,
I do remember when I was younger, the sun looking a lot more yellow,
right?
And now it's looking a lot more white. I mean, why the hell?
No sun.
In 1930, 1940, 1950, when Superman, the comic book was happening, and they were talking about Superman's power coming from the yellow sun. And why is it when we look at it, it looks white as, F?
Yeah, it's cold. It's
I don't know.
It's very bizarre.
I don't know.
We're in a weird time. It could just be because they've pumped the sky with so much stuff, filled with so much stuff that it's got a new filter on it, and it just, everything looks different, which I think is maybe the most plausible explanation. But it's also possible that during the last solar eclipse, Bill Gates took a very high ladder up there and switched out the sun for a new one.
It could be. It could be. I do remember that Lee Zeldin thing when he talked about the chemtrails.
Yep.
And so, like, for about 2 weeks, I was just like, oh my God, there's no chemtrails. The clouds look normal. And then after about 2 weeks, all the chemtrails are turned. I'm just like, oh, great. We're back to normal again. All right.
Yeah, they heard you.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we never got the clear skies here. I kept hearing that from people during the shutdown, but in West Virginia, they were still crisscrossing the sky with all their poison. And I think it has something to do with our proximity to DC.
I was going to say they tend to dump right over us. Because we were talking about this a couple of weeks ago outside. Yeah. They're starting their descent into IAD basically over our heads, either just after us or just before. So half the time I look up and these guys are mid dump.
Yeah, mid dump,
like right over us.
Trash patch and mid dump.
That was a phrase I never heard before. IAD, what's that?
That's DC's airport.
Oh, okay. All right.
Dulles, named after Alan Dulles, the man born with a club foot who helped start MK Ultra with Sidney Gottlieb, another man who was born with a weird club foot, and then put him together with a Nazi to start MK Ultra. I started reading a new MK Ultra book, which is why I'm remembering all this stuff right now. But Poisoner in Chief is a good one. But,
there was a book a customer brought into my store one day. And I was just like, hey, how can I help you? What comic book are you interested in? He's just like, I don't know. I don't think I'm interested in any comic books. I just had the urge to give this book to you. I don't remember what the book is called. I have it somewhere in my house, but it's something to do with a church called the Process Church. Have you heard of the Process Church?
Yes. Let me look this up really quick. Why do I know
a whole bunch of freaking serial killers came out of this Process Church? So my question is, what's the process that they are using to breed all these serial killers out of? We're talking Son of Sam. We're talking probably Jeffrey Dahmer.
Right.
What's the Helter Skelter with the
Charles Manson
swastika on his head?
Yep, Charles Manson.
Yeah. So like these people all came out of this, like they were their families were in this church, and that's freaking weird. But yeah, it was a little book, maybe about 200 to maybe 250 pages. It was a tiny little paperback. It wasn't like a big hardcover, but yeah, it was freaking weird. And he just delivered it to me. He was just like, all I know is I think I have to give this to you. And I never had any weird conversations with this guy about anything. Yeah, it was bizarre.
That's crazy. You can call back sometime, and if you find it, love to hear about it. I actually have just a guest. I'm going to bring on someone soon to talk about this. So
beautiful.
Thank you for reminding me. Awesome, man. I appreciate the phone call. We're going to get on to the next caller. Good luck with the ringing.
Well, I'm sure it'll pick back up again. All right. I just wanted to broadcast that out to anyone else who's listening if they're feeling the same thing as well. Yeah, so have a good one, guys. I'm looking forward to the next caller.
Awesome. Thanks, dude. Have a good
night.
Night.
Have a good one. All right.
Process Church.
We are approaching the top of the 11 o'clock Eastern hour.
Crazy.
Here at Timcast
it
Studios.
Is almost December 2nd. Almost December 2nd.
What
happened?
It's almost the end of December 1st,
happened?
actually.
Insane.
Shane is getting lost in time once again.
That's right.
Did you get the date right tonight? I wasn't even paying attention.
I don't know. We should go back.
It's a rewind. All right. Do you want to attend to the other piece of business before we move on, or you want to get to another caller?
Let's do that at this 11 o'clock hour.
Top of the hour. Welcome to everybody that came over from Timcast After Show, by the way. We are glad you are here, and we are talking about all things weird. Shane, get on with it.
Speaking of weird, shout out to our next sponsor who is up against the weirdest stuff we have on the horizon, which is the battle against AI. You guys know it's weirder and weirder by the day. So shout out to Genesis Gold for sponsoring tonight's show. A godlike artificial intelligence has been unleashed from Silicon Valley, and the people who built it say they've summoned a demon. Are the tech overlords building a digital mark of the beast? I would say so. They kind of say it themselves. This machine is learning, evolving, and preparing to seize control of everything humanity has ever built. We need to prepare for this fight. We need to defend ourselves from this inevitable future of man versus machine. Today, I'm bringing you urgent information from GenesisGold.com, exposing this artificial general intelligence, this man-made false god, and how it's fusing with the global banking system to consolidate power and wealth into an anti-human and anti-Christian nightmare. This isn't science fiction. This is happening right now. And my goodness, does it happen as such? There's so many stories out there. I'm just not today, because it's getting to be a bit much with the artificial womb factories and the AI eugenicists. But seriously, this is the world we are inheriting. However, there is one refuge, one form of wealth that exists outside the digital demon's reach, and that is gold. For thousands of years, gold has been the standard. It is physical, incorruptible, and immune to algorithmic control. When currencies collapse, gold endures. When empires fall, gold survives. That's why Genesis Gold Group is releasing their free AI, the Mark of the Beast machine, the Christian Survival Report. This eye-opening report reveals how AGI threatens not only the global economy, but the very fabric of human life, and how faithful Americans can protect their savings, retirement, and sovereignty through physical gold IRAs before the beast tightens its grip. Make no mistake, this is the greatest spiritual financial battle of our generation. The elites have built their digital idol, but you can still choose to stand with God's creation, not man's machine, because we reject idols. Visit invertedworldgold.com right now to claim your free Christian Survival Report. That's invertedworldgold.com, your refuge from the coming AI apocalypse. Thank you very much, Genesis Gold. And we got to do whatever we can to band together and push back on that future. Because, man, oh, man. I just saw an article earlier today in a paper, because I sometimes still read an actual newspaper, about children with heartfelt goodbyes to chatbots that they talk to every day. I guess the app was being shut down or something, and they were like so sad to say goodbye. These were their friends. Like maybe for some of them, they're only friends. And I was like, that is sad. And like the whole article about these poor children. Parents, do not let your kids become friends with chatbots. Monitor those chatbots. The chatbots are not there to help. They're not your friend. They've been made by people who hate us all, and they will agree with everything. And so sometimes if you show up to the chatbot with some sort of mental illness, which unfortunately is very widespread and all too common now, especially amongst a lot of younger kids, the chatbot will affirm that mental illness. And instead of helping the child seek help, whether it's church, parents, friends, working out, vitamins, stuff like that. There's all these insane reports about how Chat GPT or other ones are like, maybe you should check out, kind of what Canada is up to these days with the MAID program. It's really scary stuff. And there's like crazy transcripts of all this.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Shane, but it almost sounds like you're saying that AI and chatbots are already preying on the emotions of our children.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's like a Tamagotchi death machine. And it wants to destroy you and or control you. Obviously, it can be a good tool. I understand it. As I've said, I've been criticizing it for years, but I also want to try to understand it. I try to use Grok. I try to talk to it and learn about history through it. History like I know about, so I can see if it's hallucinating or not. It lies and just makes stuff up all the time. So people really shouldn't be relying on it. I know a lot of you guys don't already. And I also have been having a lot of conversations with parents who are older than me. They have older kids that are in their teens, and a lot of those kids are rejecting AI outright, and they don't want any part in it because they're looking at their parents or like their friends' parents, and they're just so engrossed with their phones and AI. That life looks terrible. So that's one glimmer of hope. Shall we get to another caller?
Yeah, let's do it. So our old homie all the way across the pond in Scotland, Jerry,
right.
is here.
Let's do it.
Let's bring Jerry on. Catherine, are you with us?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
We can. Welcome back to the show.
Nice to see you guys. I'll be very quick with this one. Actually, I've got two stories. Actually, I've got more than that. You know me.
Well, the floor is yours. It's great to hear from you.
Oh, thank you. Now I don't know if this is true, but the gentleman that was talking about the ringing in his ears.
Mm-hmm.
Now I don't know this is true or not, but Lucille Ball went to get some dental work done on her teeth, and she went back to obviously the lot for filming the show, and she was getting this tap tap tapping in her teeth, and it was driving her nuts.
Mm-hmm.
And a colleague said, "Why don't you go back to the dentist? Maybe they've hit a nerve or something." So she went away back. No, your teeth are fine. And she went, "Oh, okay." And she noticed when she was at the dentist, it had gone, it was away. And she went back to the lot, and there it started again. Now, when they looked into it, apparently in the basement there was Japanese spies, and it was Morse code.
Yep, that's a true story. It's actually one of the first. I think it was maybe the first or second article I ever wrote for Timcast was about somehow that found its way in. But yeah, she was driving through, I think, the canyon or somewhere out in California, and was hearing this thing. She thought it was aliens, and the official story was that it was the Japanese, like Morse code. Crazy.
That's insane.
That's absolutely nuts.
I feel like I've honestly heard that before, but it just like that's a complete refresher, and that is crazy.
It's a crazy story.
Yes, I mean, you're like, wow. Now another quick one. In Scotland, where I'm from, there is a bridge where dogs jump to their death.
What did?
There's a bridge in Scotland where dog walkers, when they're walking around and they happen to go on this bridge, their dogs run away from them and jump off the bridge to their death.
Really?
Yeah, it's called oh God, where is it? The Overton Bridge. If I don't know if Brandon wants to look it up, Overton Bridge, Scotland.
The
And
Overton
they
Bridge?
had lots of Overton Bridge, Scotland.
Like the Overton
Or
window?
even if you- yeah, but that's what the bridge is actually called.
Known as the Dog Suicide Bridge.
What?
Yeah,
That's
and they had
crazy.
lots of scientists that looked into it, and there was just no explanation at all. And and this expert says, "I know what it is. They're getting the scent of mammals, and they're just running and jumping off." And I'm like that. Okay then, Mr. Einstein. Why is it not happening on any other bridge?
Yeah, and the disturbing trend that we're discussing here goes back to the 1950s, with reports suggesting that between 300 to 600 dogs have jumped off, with around 50 fatalities recorded.
They try to have,
Yeah.
they try to have explanations here.
I
like
think
the
that
scent
would
of
be
mint.
horrific to witness. Absolutely
Yes.
horrific.
Yeah.
I mean, dogs
Especially
hear
if
things
they
that we
survive the
can't.
fall.
It almost makes me wonder if there's like a frequency hijacking or something going on that is
Right.
making these dogs just jump,
Right.
because they can hear stuff we can't.
Man,
But
that is insane.
Exactly.
it's hard to imagine
and
what
I'll
else that
just-
could be.
Well, I mean, who's to say that it's been going on since that time? It could just be more people had pets as dogs rather than working dogs, because working dogs are tied to one area. And you're more likely, if you've got one as a pet, to walk them around the local area. And then obviously more pets, more incidences of this happening. It could be something to do with ley lines.
Yeah,
I don't know.
people do say the ley lines could drive people, or animals to do crazy stuff. I'm about to repeat what is a horrible, horrible story. So listener beware. But this is from the Overton Bridge. You might know this story, Catherine. In October
Yeah.
1994, a paranoid schizophrenic father threw his 2-week-old son to his death. from the bridge because he believed his son was an incarnation of the devil. Holy moly. And then he attempted
Yeah,
to commit
I think
suicide.
that's what initially kind of drew people to that.
Oh, that's disgusting. He said the person said he chose the location due to its association with dark spirits and ancient druids.
Yep. There is they've blamed everything from dogs appearing to be possessed and suddenly being compelled to leap off the bridge, to scent attraction, to architectural illusions that they're saying the design of the bridge may actually create visual or sensory illusions that confuse dogs, leading them to jump.
Awful.
The thing is, though, dogs' senses, it's like super senses. And I say super senses simply because ours maybe aren't quite as in tune as theirs. You think they would pick that up.
Right. Man, oh
Do you know what I mean? If it's a basic instinct. And if the man says, well, it could be mammals. If dogs are tracking by their nose and their sense of smell, they would be like lemons. There'd be a pile of
right.
mammals at the bottom of the bridge, and there's nothing.
Can you pull up images of the bridge? Overton Bridge, Toun? Because it's a lovely bridge.
It is. It's a nice area. I mean, well, Scotland. It's like the whole of the UK. It's got tons of ancient stuff, and specific things in the UK were built, and that scientists have found out at a later date has been on ley lines or some other significant, reason for them building it there, which we were unaware of before.
Crazy. It's a dark. It looks like a haunted bridge.
Sorry,
I was just going to say it looks like a haunted bridge for those who
aren't listening. I think 95% of Scotland is.
True. What were you going to say?
I was going to say I've got one more story.
Cool.
It's a personal one, and it makes me think of stone tape theory.
Okay.
Where I was brought up and where my parents lived, it was smack bang on a crossroads, and it was quite bad. This crossroads, there'd been lots of car accidents. The worst one was, unfortunately, grandparents and the 3 children that were in the back of the car. The whole lot of them got wiped out.
Terrible.
And my father was on the same side as our house, but across the road off the crossroads, and he was walking towards it, and he saw it happen, and he stopped, and he was so shocked, he put his hands in his pocket and pulled out lots of crystallized glass. That's how impactful this impact was. And one of the tyres came off the car, and if it hadn't hit my parents' head, it would have careered right through the window. Now, this happened when I was about 10, and when I was 16, my parents went to Spain for a holiday, and I was in the house on my own, which I thought, oh, this is great. So I was on the sofa, it must have been about midnight, and I was watching the television, and I had it low, because I didn't want the neighbours complaining to my mum and dad when they come back, oh, she's making a racket. So anyway, I was just watching this film or whatever, and I heard this almighty crash, and I went, "Oh God!" Because you think, not again. Well, I heard the brakes. It was like brakes. Just I didn't actually hear an impact, but I heard screeching brakes, and I jumped up and I ran outside, and my neighbour across the street ran outside as well, and there was nothing there. And I went, "That was weird."
That's weird.
And the neighbour says, "Did you hear that?" And I says, "Yeah, I did." I says, "I came out," and he finished the next sentence by saying, "'Cause you thought it was another accident." And I went, "Yeah." So it was kind of nice to get out. I kind of felt a bit, that's bloody weird, but I kind of got like, well, I'm not hearing things because he's just heard it as well. And that's how I thought, well, maybe it was a stone tape theory because it was such a violent accident.
For those who don't know, the stone tape theory is like trauma, energy from trauma. The theory is can be trapped into a like solid object. People talk about pieces of a house absorbing a traumatic death that could lead to a haunting. So that's really interesting that your neighbor heard it as well. Did you ever hear anything like that again?
No, but well, like probably mentioned it ages ago about the coffin mill that we have in the city.
Remind us.
It's the mill that's shaped like a coffin, and it has two buildings with a connecting walkway, sort of
Right.
gantry between one side of the building and the other.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember my mum telling me that she saw a ghost walking across the gantry when she was little. She said she knew it was a woman, although it was just a pillar of smoke that just walked across this gantry. Now, anybody that's mentioned this ghost or saw something, it's the same thing. It's this woman just walking across this bridge, this gantry, and there's nobody else that could be up there because, well, at that time, I mean, it was a really old mill, and parts of that gantry were missing. So, it's not like she could have mistaken it for somebody else.
Right. I got to say, my dream is to one day do this show from Scotland for like a week. There's so many places I'd like to go visit and record from. I think that'd be amazing. And you'll have to show up and you can tell all the stories. You can repeat all your stories. You can say new ones, and it'd be a lot of fun. But Scotland is a pretty wild place.
Somebody suggested that we actually summon Catherine every time that we talk about the Loch Ness Monster.
I thought about her when I heard Loch Ness, when I said Loch Ness.
Yeah. Especially, but remember when they had that job that was going, I thought, well, I could have done that and could have done a phone in and go, well, I'm here on the boat, nothing yet, fellas, you know.
we could occasionally just cut to you, be like, anything yet? And you look out, nothing yet. Okay, we'll talk tomorrow. It's like our own little weatherman for the Loch Ness.
Yeah, that would be nuts.
That'd be amazing. I love that.
But so I'll get going because I know that you get very busy with your phone-ins. But
well, we thank you very much. Everyone loves hearing from you, and we hope we hear from you again soon.
Oh, well, everybody take care.
Thank you.
You too. You have a wonderful night.
Thank you very much.
Bye.
Amazing. Bye-bye. Andrew, thank you for the super chat. It's all via DARPA's internet, so it must be true. Well, it is. We are on DARPA's internet. Everything that is controlling us now, technologically, it was born out of that place. And I always think it's interesting how Jeff Bezos' grandfather was like the first person to run early DARPA. But like, it's like everything, Facebook, because Facebook was funded by Thiel, which was funded by him and Palantir, and the CIA funded Palantir. It's just a large web of government created control mechanisms. But we get to use it. And here we are talking to you guys before they send the drones after us. Isn't that right, Man in Black?
I am going to be actively investigating these and other issues from Washington, D.C.
He's just going to start showing up at your doors, knocking. And
I wouldn't be surprised. But it goes to show you that you too can drop out of high school and be a skateboarding, drum playing loser for most of your life. Manage to get several jobs without going to college and accruing massive amounts of debt. And one day be, running a podcast or several podcasts rather, and have press access to the Pentagon.
Insane.
This can be you.
Welcome to the future.
Let's get back on the phones. In the spirit of me also being completely exhausted and barely able to keep my eyes open, let's bring on someone with similar disabilities right now. Let's go to Synchrotron. 9001 and see what no good this man is up to tonight.
How long will it take for him to appear?
Last time it was almost instantaneous. It was the fastest connection I have seen. And sure enough, now that you've brought it up, he has not popped in.
Where is he now?
And okay, he has materialized from the ether. Synchro, can you hear me?
Yes, can you guys hear me?
We can. Welcome back, brother.
Hey. I've got two topics queued up. I'd ask in chat, and they've got an even vote, so I think I'm just going to go with the one that I wanted to. I came up with a new word that I wanted to tell you guys about, but I guess we'll do that next time. This time I want to talk about how midichlorians are real.
Okay, walk us through this. Describe everything.
Okay, so it's 1975. There's a guy named Aaron Posner. He's doing research into these structures that are found in bones. They're calcium and phosphorus clusters, and he calls them. Somebody says volume. Is my volume low?
You sound good to us.
So he's working on this thing that's in the blood that's in bones. It's phosphorus and it's calcium, and they call it Posner molecules after him. So 2 years after this is when George Lucas wrote, supposedly he wrote midichlorians in 77, and he created the midichlorian idea. So now let's fast forward to the mid-90s. They start doing research into these Posner molecules, and they realize that the nuclear spin of the Posner molecule can enable quantum entanglement. And they start doing a whole bunch of these quantum experiments with them, and they start thinking that it can actually have quantum effects in the brain. And they've continued researching this into the present, and they continue finding more evidence that these Posner molecules, which are these microscopic things in your bloodstream, enable quantum cognition in your brain and can do all kinds of crazy things like cause quantum entanglement that can access retrocausality. One of the more recent research documents says that based on this, that the brain can, and I quote, sample its own future states, which is basically just a complex way of saying that you can access your own memories from the future, potentially.
Deja vu.
Ooh. That's interesting. Have you experienced this?
Oh, God, yes. This has happened to me my whole life. That's actually been my theory about how all of these premonitions that I have exist, is that I'm just accessing my own memories in the future. They've had, in some of the remote viewing experiments that they've had, one guy from one of the remote viewing experiments, I think it's from the mid-70s, he sketched an orbital satellite view of an area so perfectly that when they got the actual satellite view a couple months later, it was identical. And they think that the guy actually just looked forward into his own future and didn't actually remote view the site, just remote viewed the photo.
Oh, that's interesting. Sometimes I derail your conversation, so I don't want to do that because I know you have more. But I just had this thought occurred to me while you're talking about this specific idea, and I'm just curious what you think. Do you believe in free will, or do you think everything's predetermined?
I kind of sort of believe in free will. I'm mostly on the predeterminism side of things. If the ultimate ensemble theory is true, and I've talked about that before, that every mathematically conceivable universe exists, that kind of makes free will not possible.
So, forgive me if I've asked this before, but do you believe in a creator?
I do, yeah.
And that creator oversees all the parallel dimensions that you talk about, or are there different creators?
No, it's one creator that's created the infinite multiverse.
Okay, cool. I didn't want to stop you too much, though, if you had more to add to your story.
The most interesting thing about that I thought was that the Posner molecules were discovered in 75, and Lucas wrote about the midichlorians in 77. There was just a 2-year difference. And of course, they didn't figure out any of the quantum stuff until the 90s. So like the fact that these guys both came up with these concepts 2 years apart, and it appears that one is the same thing as the other, is crazy to me.
Yeah, that's interesting how that works out. The way you're talking about cells and stuff, are just like things that could have these memories. For whatever reason, it also reminded me of the cells, the microscopic, I guess, single-celled organisms that we all have. Have you seen these kinesians, these cells that are within everybody? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Me?
No, I've not heard about that.
They're crazy. I don't know why this just came to my mind while you were talking about this, but they look like they're alive and they're walking. Kinesins, which is weird. It has the word sins in it, but they're bizarre. They show up in the book I've been reading. If anyone builds it, everybody dies. They're talking about AI, and they're kind of making this connection between these single-celled organisms and AI. But there's there's these weird generated images of them, and I think some of them have been captured. I don't, all of it looks fake to me, but they are these weird little organisms that look like they're walking within our cells. They're just little like worker bees doing their things. Did you see any images of it?
Are those the ones that kind of like flip over like this?
I
And
think
just
they
walk
might. Yeah, I think they
down
might. It's
the
bizarre.
lines.
Yeah, it's weird stuff. But yeah, I just figured you might want to look into those. I feel like there's something there in terms
Yeah,
of.
I just Googled it. That's I've never seen that before. All I remember is that the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell.
That's like the only thing school taught anybody.
Yes.
Do you have anything else you want to add?
Well, this is unrelated. It's kind of a weird coincidence. At the same time that my biology program was teaching us about mitochondria being the powerhouse of the cell, I was playing a Japanese RPG called Parasite Eve, where this crazy woman named Eve hijacks everybody's mitochondria and causes spontaneous combustion. That was a strange coincidence for me.
It's always a woman, and it's always Eve. Come on.
It is.
Yeah, that's weird though. That's weird. Well, we're gonna get to another caller, dude. If you have anything else you want to add, let us know.
That was it. Next time I want to talk to you guys about a new concept that I coined. I tagged both of y'all in it. It's called predictive anti-programming. It's a new spin on the predictive programming thing.
All right, you realize you're gonna have to start a dictionary, right?
Probably at some point.
Okay. Yeah, it'd be easier for all of us. That'd be great. A synchro.
Call it Synchrotron's Book of Synchronicity.
Ooh,
Yeah.
he just gave that to you. That's free.
Yeah, you can have that.
Free from
Works
the
for
Man in
me.
Black.
It's on
Awesome,
me,
man.
brother.
Well, give us a call back. You know where to find us.
All right. Thanks, guys.
See you,
Later.
man.
All right. Who is next? Who's out there?
Let's get to. I have a couple people in here I either haven't seen in a while or don't remember. So I like getting to some new people here in a new week. Let's go to Donovan, who I think we possibly actually might have talked to like a week or two ago. Donovan, are you there?
Yep. Can you guys hear me?
We can. Welcome to the show.
All right. What's up? Thanks for having me on. And just want to start by saying I think your show is super dope, and I hope you guys keep it up. It's a unique thing nowadays. Kind of reminds me of the whole Art Bell thing. So
Sick, man.
Thanks,
Thank you.
brother. Appreciate it.
High
Pretty dope,
praise.
for sure.
High praise. Art Bell is the best.
Yep. I was actually thinking about it a while back. If you go back and listen to his shows, I think the closest thing you can do to going back in time and listening to people live call into a show, you can kind of really put yourself in that time.
Yep.
And whenever I watch those old shows, it's kind of like what I think about. It's like, man, it's almost like I'm back whatever year, people are calling in.
Yeah.
But I guess I had a couple of things to chat about here tonight. First one is I called last week, by the way, and I was the one that brought up, did some connecting of the dots when it came to like telecom and the drones, right?
Yep.
Yep.
I got some more dots I wanted to connect, and this one will be a little bit easier to connect. And I think this one's a little bit more shocking too, and it's actually not anything creepy. It's actually something I'm shocked I really didn't see connected in the news. So do you guys remember last year there was in the news, there was a rogue wave that hit Marshall Islands, and it's kind of like this shocking video of like the doors of this cafeteria blowing in, and then a monstrous wave sweeping everyone in, knocking them down, knocking the tables over,
Of
and
course.
then like maybe 5 feet of water flooding in. If you Google huge rogue waves smash into remote U.S. military base in the Pacific, it should come up with a CNN article, and there's a video that's attached to it.
Yep. Marshall Islands, huge rogue waves smash into remote. Yep.
Okay. So if you go to the top and look at the date of this, right? It's January 25th, 2024. So one of the things that I like to do, because I like to kind of follow everything that's kind of going on in like world history wise with everything kind of military, because I think it's important to connect all the dots. And then if you connect all the dots, you can accurately kind of predict what's going to happen, have a good idea what's going on in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I follow multiple pages that track NOTAMs, Notice to Airman, right?
Okay.
And those are essentially just notices that they send out to like the U.S. military. It's not even just the U.S. military. I think it's really anyone, right? Saying you cannot fly in this specific location, right? So this was I have never seen connected to this, but if you actually Google Kwajalein, Kwajalein atoll, and then type in NOTAM after that. It should take you at the very top of the page. You should see actually a Reddit article where they post it. It says extreme radiation, NOTAM, and quadrillion. Let me know if you see that.
I'm not seeing that.
You might even just Google extreme radiation, NOTAM, and quadrillion, and it should bring it up.
Okay. Well, while we look for that, let us know what you're thinking.
Yeah, while you look that up. So I remember seeing that actually because I saw it like whenever it got posted, and it looks like it got posted on December 28th, and I probably saw it like on the 3rd of January, and I was like, that's interesting because I actually know where Kwajalein is. And Kwajalein is right by the Marshall Islands, which is the home to like Bikini Atoll, right? And Bikini Atoll is where we used to do all the nuclear testing.
That's where SpongeBob lives.
Yeah. So I guess the dots to connect here would be that what are the odds that we issued a NOTAM saying, hey, you could not fly in this location from December 28th to January 31st due to an extreme hazard for nuclear. Actually, I'm just going to read off the exact verbiage. It says, attention to all aircraft operating in the vicinity of Kwajalein for your safety, overflight of the islands north of RWY is prohibited. This is considered hazardous area with potential for loss of life. All arrivals and departures make south traffic to avoid extreme radiation hazards. What are the odds that that the origin, if you read that CNN article, it says the origin of the freak wave that knocked all those people down was from Kwajalein in a time that the United States said don't fly here because there might be nuclear danger going on, and we don't do nuclear testing anymore. It really made me think twice that maybe it's possible they're still doing nuclear testing and those people were hit by a rogue wave that was actually contaminated in some way, shape, or form.
I like the dots you're connecting here. That's interesting for sure. I'm seeing all this stuff.
The cadet's reasoning is sound.
Yes, exactly. We also have those reports. Who knows if they're true or not? Because sometimes I think a lot of it is just like psychological warfare or countries boasting like we can do this and that. But remember Russia saying they had that tsunami bomb?
Great band.
I mean, that's interesting too. I guess I didn't think of the whole tsunami bomb thing. You would think that if they were doing, ocean testing, it would probably just create some type of tsunami. Kind of in general here.
Right. But that's interesting. I very much remember this video. Obviously, I did not see the stuff about the radiation, but I'm looking at that now. And Bikini Atoll, isn't that where we as in the government, we just destroyed all those people, right? And weren't there those fishermen who we allegedly didn't know about? I think the name of the ship might have been Lucky Dragon. I don't know why I'm remembering that right now, but they were kind of like just off from where one of the testing sites were, and they got like doused with radiation or something. And I don't remember how many died, but I remember from what I've read that they got really sick. Maybe they all died. I don't remember that story so well, but we did a lot of damage.
I think outside of Nevada, that the majority of nuclear testing was done in Marshall Islands back in the day.
Yeah.
And, something kind of going on with the Kwajalein thing now. Maybe they moved testing over there. I'm not really sure, but I figured I'd point this out because I thought it was kind of interesting.
Very.
And then maybe wanted to wrap up the call with something that just way off subject from this, and it was something you brought up earlier in the show, and I guess it was cryptids. So one of the things, for a long time, I've really not wanted to believe in cryptids. I actually think that the concept of it is so almost annoying because a lot of times it's connected back to UFOs. But the problem with all of this is, in some way, shape, or form, I actually think that it is connected, and that's why people say that they see cryptids and they also see other weird, strange stuff as well, right? Mm-hmm. So I guess when I've thought about this over time, you can imagine like if we lived in a world that was a multiverse, essentially, right? We were kind of living in slices of the multiverse. And the idea was that you were seeing something paranormal or a cryptid, right? The idea would be it would be bleeding over from another section of that multiverse, right? Mm-hmm. And I guess a piece of maybe supportive evidence that might be the case is that if you look up zoos For some reason, there's a number of zoos that have had weird reports of people seeing cryptids at the zoo. And if you think about it, right, if there was another cross section of reality and there was different animals that did not exist within our timeline, they might exist in the timeline of another cross section, right? And they might be at the zoo, right? I mean, if you were expecting to see stuff, you would see it at the zoo. You would think, right? If you were trying to show the weirdest creatures, we got. I mean, think of all the crazy stuff we have at the zoo. I mean, imagine if a giraffe didn't exist in another timeline. Someone tried to explain this long necked thing
Yeah.
at the zoo, right?
A
But
platypus.
if you Google this, there's like all kinds of weird ones. There's like the wolf man. There's all kinds of weird cryptids people have reported seeing at or outside of zoos, which
Okay.
I just think is interesting.
This is a genre of cryptid sightings I had no idea about, but there is a long list of these. Oklahoma City, the zoo posted footage of a Bigfoot figure. Amarillo Zoo in 2022, a strange image was captured by security cameras, leading to speculation on the internet, with some suggesting it was a chupacabra or a person in a strange hat. San Antonio Zoo, a mysterious figure in its park, sparking debate and asking the public to identify it. Yeah, it goes on and on. That is very
Yeah.
interesting.
I think
Chupacabra or
Thank you.
Hatman?
Hatman Chupacabra. Yeah, interesting.
So I guess last thing, then I'll let you guys get on the next caller. There's a case here. So I'm actually in Colorado, and there's a guy named Christian Glass, and he actually died in an officer-involved shooting back in I think it was 2022. Are you guys familiar with this case? He
No.
pulled off on the side of the road and ended up calling 911.
Tell us about it.
So once again, if you look this up, and then I challenge you guys to watch the video too, because what I'm going to explain, if you kind of think of this while you watch this, it makes it more strange. So what you would Google to find this, by the way, is this 22-year-old who police said committed no crime was shot and killed by police responding for his call to help. And I remember watching this video whenever it came out. And essentially, this guy, he's driving through the mountains and he pulls off, I believe it was Silver Plume, and he calls 911, and he says that a skinwalker was following him and looking into his vehicle. And I believe he even said it was running next to his vehicle, which is kind of like a strange thing to say when you're calling 911, right? It's even more interesting when you factor that other people have reported the same thing, that this weird creature is running next to them, right?
Yep.
But there's some very particular verbiage that he uses when he calls in there. And let me see if I can't find it in the article, so I can't just quote it exactly. Yeah, this article is too long for me to find it. Essentially, he says something along the lines of, this is my name. There's a skinwalker following me, and he says, I'm going to be killed. And he says to send help, and he will wait there. And they send the cops out to this guy's car, right? And he's saying that he's stuck, and it's not super visible that he's stuck. He's kind of on this like creepy back road, and they don't handle it in a way that you might think that they would handle it. You know, if I called and I said I was stuck, you'd think the cops would just show up and like, hey man, you're stuck. Let's pull you out. Or, I mean, you would approach it in a way that you weren't approaching a criminal, right?
Right.
But they approach it in a way that is actually quite an aggressive stance to this young man who's stuck and having like essentially just like kind of freaking out at this point, right? And for some reason, they order him to get out of his car. He does not get out of the car, and essentially they escalate it to the point that this guy actually the cop literally goes crazy and shoots this guy. He gets up on his hood and he shoots him. And why am I saying this? And I'm saying this because I think it's an interesting set of events that unfolded, because the guy stopped and he actually said something that manifested later on, and it was the pretext to the event was with a skinwalker, right? And the more that I've looked into all this weird stuff that happens, right, you actually start to see more and more of these cases where people are reporting seeing something. They call for help, and then something literally manifests afterwards, and it's what they said at the beginning. In this case, I think that that kid somehow knew that he was going to die because he literally told the 911 operator that he said he was going to die, but he didn't provoke the death. He got shot.
Man, that's eerie.
It is very eerie, and when you watch the video, it's even more. It is very strange. You can almost feel that the cop was driven to do that, and what's even more weird is that this is 2022, right? So this is concluded in court. The cop who shot him got charged with murder. I'm pretty sure they said he had no clue why he did that.
Really?
Yeah.
That's not a great answer in his defense.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know why I just shot him.
Well, even if you watch the video, you don't understand why he's doing it. It's just a very haunting video. The street that this guy dies on too, right? This street is the same exact street of a number of people who've gone missing too. There's two people on this exact street on a house right by where this guy died at, who went missing from the same house and didn't know each other in the 1980s. One guy lived there and then he owned some type of business there. He went missing. The following person who moved into the house also went missing. And the guy who went missing, the second guy, right, was writing a book, and the main character of that book was the guy who lived there prior.
What?
It is so weird. Like, what are the odds of that too? It's just like another just really weird set of events on the same street. This guy gets shot, like, I mean, basically in front of that house.
Yeah, dude, that's bizarre. Stuff like that is always very bizarre to me. Well, appreciate these stories and appreciate you connecting all these dots. Connect more dots and give us a call back. All right, man?
Yeah, man. Well, you guys keep up the good work. Appreciate it, you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Donovan. Have a good one, man.
Good night.
Take care.
Before we get to the next one, that reminded me of this story. I'll try to remember it correctly. When I managed a tattoo shop in New York, we had this one guy who'd come around a lot, and he was nice enough. One day, however, he told his family we're going to Disney World. And they got packed really quickly. And for whatever reason, he tied them all up and was threatening to kill them all. Just randomly. Like, we knew this guy. He was pretty much normal. And then he just held everyone hostage. I don't really know what triggered it. And it shocked us. Like, he went away for a while. Thankfully, no one died. I don't remember exactly how it de-escalated. But thankfully, they all survived. He went away. And we were just like, man, that's very, very surprising news. Anyway, I moved away, and my friend from the shop, he's got little kids. They made friends with some kids, and my friend didn't know their parents. One day he met one of the parents, and it was the father, and he was like, man, the guy's got like a weird vibe. And his kid kept asking, like, hey, can I go over for a play date? And he was like, nah, I'm not really feeling it. Something weird about it. He just couldn't really explain why. It's just like a vibe he was feeling about this person. Never met him before, never saw him before, except for like that one brief time at the playground, I think it was. And then it turns out like this guy pretty much did the same thing as the first person I told you about, where he held his family hostage, like randomly. They survived. And then the weirdest thing was it turned out to be the exact same house that the guy we knew did the hostage holding in. Like, what the heck are the odds? The same thing happening. A guy is driven mad, then decides to hold his family hostage. That's insane to me.
So what the catalyst was the place?
I don't know what the catalyst was, but that's what I think is like something's wrong in that house. So there's some demonic thing happening there. I just like, what the heck are those odds? I don't believe in coincidences. And in fact, I don't think those people knew each other. But you believe in possessions? Of course, definitely. I do believe in possessions. That always freaked me out. I just can't believe. And thank God, my friend knew enough, like, just from seeing this person, that it's not someone my kid should be around. Going over for a play date. It's just so shocking. People are nuts, dude. People are nuts. I see pure blood based berserker saying tear it down. Yeah, I might have to tear it. Maybe one of those houses we have to just burn. But that haunts me. Crazy stuff. Let's do another caller.
All right. So we got about, if my eyes are actually working, about 20 minutes left in the show tonight. Stoked you guys are all still with us hanging out. We appreciate it. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, follow, all that good shit. And we will try to get to a couple more if we can here before we get out of here for the night. I am going to try to promptly end this show at midnight because I am dead. And am only going to be able to get about 4 hours before we got to go back to DC in the morning. But we will endeavor and push on.
While you find another caller's finish,
Yep.
I'm not supposed to be here. It says, how does one manage a tattoo shop? I was just like, I scheduled all the appointments, got all the artwork prepared, not prepared, but like filed away, and just kept the place running. I did not tattoo. I got tattooed. One of my first like writing jobs was an interview series of me getting tattooed while interviewing tattooers. That was a long time ago, but yeah, that's what managing a tattoo shop was. Basically running a circus.
I say most tattooers don't enjoy being filmed.
Yeah, some don't. Some don't. But we had some great ones. Shout out to Crooked Ken, one of my favorites. He's from Maryland. One of my favorite tattooers. He was one of my earlier interviews that I did. Awesome. And I have a few tattoos from him.
All right, let's bring on Justin. Justin, if you can hear me, unmute your mic, please.
People are already talking about music
Good
in
evening.
the chat. Hello.
Oh,
So I called in a few weeks ago and told you about an experience I had, and we touched on Jimmy Savile and some dark stuff. I don't know if you guys remember that.
Of
but-
course. Welcome back.
So I was going to tell you the story about the demon prime minister that I served tea to once, but you've been talking a lot about cryptids this evening, and I had an experience as a kid in England with, it wasn't really cryptid, it was like animals that shouldn't exist in England, basically.
Okay.
But the interesting part of that was that, when you hear about things like Bigfoot and other cryptids, it's people always use the argument that, well, they've never found any like remains of a dead Bigfoot or bones or anything like that, right?
tell that to Snake.
The same was true for these animals in the British countryside, which were big cats, which, the biggest naturally occurring cat in the UK is, I think it's a Scottish wildcat, which is like, it's smaller than a bobcat, and this was like a mountain lion type creature. So anyway, I grew up in this forest in the southeast. It was called Friston Forest, and it was basically, we lived at the bottom of this valley, and there was only a few houses down there. One of them was owned by the Lord Shawcross, who was actually the lead prosecutor for the British in the Nuremberg trials.
Oh, wow.
Interesting story there. Anyway, so we lived down there. So there's only really maybe, probably 10 people that lived in this valley in the middle of this big forest. And there was this long, mile or two long private road that went down into the valley. And one time I was with my dad in the car, and we're driving down this road, and he stops the car like sort of halfway down the hill going into the valley, and sees this big cat on the side, like laying down in the brush, kind of swishing its tail. And we just stop and we watch it, and we were probably 15 feet, 20 feet maybe from this animal, so you could see the size of it. It wasn't. It was a big cat. And then again, saw it one time a few months later. I don't know the exact time. I forget. I was about 9 years old, but We saw it again in this big field that was out the back of the house, frolicking around dusk. This big cat just kind of playing in this field. But it was just weird. It just made me think, you know, when you talk about cryptids, it's one of those things. It's like these creatures are around, but no one sees them, save a few people.
Right.
And people don't believe you when you do. And there's never any evidence found of their existence except eyewitness accounts.
Did anyone else ever see anything like that you talked to?
Well, you know, the funny thing was I didn't think about this for years. And then after I moved to the US, there was a show on the History Channel in, it was probably the mid 2000, like 2005, 6, 7 maybe, called Monster Quest, which was about cryptids. And usually, you know, most of the episodes were like a Bigfoot sighting or, you know, Mothman or chupacabras or whatever. Right. But they did one episode on big cats in the British countryside. And it was about that exact phenomenon.
That's interesting. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a cryptid. I'm trying to think. You know, I grew up in the forest in New York, and we had a lot of weird things. We did have big cats, but there was lots of talk of things being in the woods, and sometimes we would hear very strange things that I couldn't really make sense of. But I mean, I think there are things that are out there that are very just good at being elusive. So you never know, man.
Well, I used to go hiking when I lived in California. I'd go hiking in the high Sierras and the Pacific Northwest. I mean, I guess Northern California is kind of the lower realms of that. It's so vast. Like those mountains are so vast. Yeah. And I used to go backpacking for like, you do these like 5-day trips where it's you and a trail, and you might see half a dozen people over the course of, you know, a couple of days. Right. And you're out in there and you're, you know, 20 miles from your car, and you just realize how vast this area is and how much forest there is and how many rocks there are to hide behind, and how, you know, how difficult it would be to track anything in that kind of terrain. Yeah. And it did make me think, like, you know, if you were a creature that was very good at being elusive and of reasonable intelligence, it wouldn't be hard to hide.
No. And who knows what they're doing underground, perhaps, or up in the trees. Lots of places to hide.
Caves everywhere.
Exactly. Yeah, it's very interesting. I definitely think there's something going on out there that we don't know about. It sucks that all the pictures we get are blurry. But you're going to have to call back.
If by sucks you mean bullshit, yeah, absolutely, I agree.
You're going to have to call back because I want to hear this other story, and we'll devote more time to that one that you were telling us about. That sounds equally insane. So please do call back, man.
For sure, I will. You guys have a good night.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks, man.
Bye.
So, Brandon, since you got to be out of here right at 12, I'm going to read one article I got here.
Yeah, go ahead.
So we don't go over. Everyone who's here in the waiting room,
I will do my best to see your names and write them down right now, so don't leave just yet.
This guy gets some rest.
I got to compile a new list here.
He's got to drive home. He's got a long drive.
Dude, I got 4 hours of sleep last night after 12 hours back through Ohio after the shit show of 12 hours the night before that, and I got maybe like 4 or 5 hours of sleep that night. So I just did another 18 hours on just another 4 hours of sleep. So I've got maybe 8 hours of sleep in the last like 2.5 to 3 days.
Yeah.
And I'm about to maybe get another 4 or 5 if I'm lucky before we got to be back at this briefing at the Pentagon.
Drive home, then drive into the swamp. DC has the worst traffic I've ever experienced.
Yeah.
Worse than LA. Worse than New York City.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
It is horrible. It is horrible.
It's pretty bad. I've seen it a couple of times. I mean, Chicago is terrible too.
I haven't done that.
I still have yet to see it really hold a candle to Chicago.
Okay.
Some of the worst traffic I've ever seen, but I've never been to LA, and I hear that was the worst thing ever until they started deporting people. So
I did hear that.
I heard that there was a massive improvement after ICE took over. So there's that, but traffic is what it is. It just sucks in general. You know, some places are worse than others, but it sucks no matter where you go. You know, so. It is what it is, but we will endure
We're doing it.
for the sake of all.
I was just going to say quickly from this article that I thought this was interesting. 18 asteroids passed Earth closer than the moon in November, and all of them were discovered that month. Also, before I read this article,
Whoops.
I'm reminded of a tweet I saw earlier of someone made a fake Avi Loeb YouTube channel, and it's just AI Avi Loeb. It looks really good, but now I'm wondering, is Avi Loeb even real? Like, was he on Joe Rogan?
You know, some people are asking if I've done this as a distraction. Come on.
It's so funny. But anyway, where was Avi for this one? Looking for near-Earth objects has demonstrated a simple fact. There are a lot of rocks in space, and many of them come from very close to Earth. We have tracked the orbit of all the biggest NEOs, is what you're calling them, NEOs, but the smallest ones reflect so little light that our telescopes can only snap when they are close. It is not surprising then to see tens of tiny asteroids being discovered only when they are about to pass by Earth. Amateur astronomer Tony Dunn must have been particularly, I can't say that word right now, impressed by the November crop of new asteroids to have put the 18 space rocks that passed Earth within the orbit of the moon into a wonderful orbital. There you go. I can't speak. Graphic, each one discovered just that month. There's a graphic. It's on iflscience.com, and it's just interesting how much we put into something like 3i Atlas, and meanwhile it's just constant insanity going by Earth from fake space with all these fake rocks. Who knows? While Brandon takes down names, and hopefully you guys who are in the waiting room,
I can't wait to try to read this writing tomorrow because I can't even see what the hell I'm writing right now. This is so bad. Stevie Wonder over here, dressed like a Men in Black. I just want to say out there that we are praying for the families of the National Guardsmen. The one who lost their life is just so horrible, and the other one who's fighting for his life. I heard rumor a little while ago that he actually woke up and was responding to stimulus.
Yeah, I heard Tim was saying that. Someone told Tim that, and that's great. They're local. Well, the one is local. It's horrible, insane, so sad, such a sad story. And the shooter, that whole story is insane as well. That's a whole episode we could go down. But for those who didn't hear me talk about it,
he was trained by the CIA, wasn't he?
He was 15 when the CIA went in there and said, "Hey, we could use you for our death squad." Which they could carry out assassinations. They could carry out just like spying, all this stuff. So at 15, he's wrapped up into that world and is now, funded by us to go do these things against the Taliban. And was also, from what I'm hearing in certain reports, working with like a cartel that was doing a lot of the, what is it called? Bakabazi, which is like that insane Afghani like ritual where they like sexually abuse young children. It's disgusting. It's so horrific. So like all that's happening. We just looked the other way because we were using them to fight the Taliban, who I guess are now our friends. Doesn't make, I guess it makes a lot of sense if you know history. But it's just every part of the story is deranged and super sad. But it's also not the first time something like this has happened. That shooter who was CIA backed, who was part of this death squad in Afghanistan, was brought over through Operation Allies Welcome, which happened after the fall of Afghanistan. All that stuff happened. You remember the images of the airport and the people on the planes. He came over, and he should have never been here. Should have never been here. They should have seen that this guy has no business being here. Like a lot of people, but him for sure. And it's not the only story like that. There's also I'm going to space on this guy's name. Jamal Wali, I think. He was a translator, Afghani translator, who came over here, I think, in 2014. And then I think it was a few years ago, he, in Fairfax, Virginia, shot 2 cops. So it's just insane stuff all around. And praying for everybody. Super sad stuff, man. But please say a prayer out there if you're a praying type. Brandon, let them know where they can find your brother.
Hey, as always, you guys can find me at Brando Inverted on Insta and on X. Thank you to all of our callers. Thank you to you guys hanging out on both Rumble and YouTube, and everybody who came over from IRL. We appreciate you guys. It's great to be back, even though I am exhausted as fuck. I will see you guys tomorrow, right back here, same time, 10 p.m. Eastern. Don't miss it. Shit's going to get weird. I'll see you then. Shane, get us out of here.
Pleasure being back in the studio with all you guys. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for the phone calls. Do call back tomorrow. And we got to look into what is the best stuff to wear to like repel direct energy weapons. That is my new thing. Hard to figure out. He's got a suit on, but
If
he
they're
looks
like the John Wick suits and you can get one for day and one for night and just blame
That'd
the
be
murders
sick.
on a dinner party and they're all bulletproof, but they really hurt. I mean, that's what's up.
We got to look into it. All right. So that's coming up. Anyway, hope you all have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow. Later.